Welcome to revenge with Arya. Who slams a door like that? You worthless idiot. My brother snarled, his fist pounding the table so fiercely it shook the plates. For a moment my ears rang with the impact. Then the radio blared louder. Mom just twisted the knob and cranked the volume up like I was some irrelevant echo in her dining room. My name is Maya Kensington. I'm 29. And if you think you've seen this plot before, keep watching. When did they label me the family doormat? As I wiped the counter again, scrubbing spills with trembling fingers, one burning question looped in my mind. What does a son have to do to earn basic decency in his own family's home? The dining room reeked of spiced curry and cumin. I was preparing dinner for everyone, not out of kindness, but because it was demanded. No gratitude, no dignity, just commands. Dad's old pipe. The same cherry tobacco one I always fill when the pressure builds to a snap, smoldered on the side table. That pipe is my symbol, my cue that smoke can soothe or scorch. My brother lounged against the doorway, grinning like he ruled the roost. Seriously, he muttered to Mom, I don't get why he bothers. He was always pathetic. Mom snorted a laugh, not full-throated, but sufficient. Sufficient to embed another shard of shame into my core. I choked back the sting climbing my chest. If they craved a punchline, if they sought a pushover, if they needed a live-in servant to offload chores onto, they were in for a spectacle because the phone buzzed sharply, slicing through the room like an alarm. My brother smirked wider, but 10 minutes later, a heavy thud echoed from the dining room. And that was the precise instant the tide turned. Mom's stool scraped the linoleum as the thud resounded. She rushed in for the first time. Her slippers skidded on the floor, and she halted abruptly at the threshold when she spotted the mess on the ground. The china set shattered. Every plate pulled out, arranged on the table, then swept off. My brother's complexion paled instantly because he grasped what it signified. I wasn't feigning frailty any longer. Mom eyed the tabletop, at last registering what she'd overlooked. My tablet was propped open, my slim red folder splayed, tax returns, receipts, evidence of every deposit I'd funneled into this home over the past 8 years, my utility payments that kept their lights on, my errand runs that stocked their pantry, my therapy sessions for Dad's rehab, $287,900 in all. Mom's tone wavered. How did you compile all this? Kept my volume steady. No yelling. No quivering. I'm finished as your free laborer, I stated flatly. I'm done hiding in my own family's dining room. I'm done serving those who see me as garbage. My brother parted his lips, then sealed them because the follow-up was what petrified them. A compact blue envelope rested beside the folder, stamped with a lawyer's seal peeking through the translucent panel. The car, I said, rapping it lightly with my knuckle, is no longer in Mom's or Dad's registration. Mom recoiled a pace. My brother clutched the frame. Cherry pipe puffing steadily. Smoke searing, not settling because I wasn't through. And the fear in Mom's gaze confirmed that for the first time in 29 years, they knew I meant business. Not tomorrow. My brother mustered his words, that phony caring pitch he deployed when cornered. Why the theatrics? We're blood. We support one another. I chuckled softly because that was the precise phrase he uttered when he wanted cash, but never when I required aid. Mom aimed to reclaim authority. You lack the authority to alter vehicle titles without discussion. I lifted a palm. In fact, I possessed full authority because the car was in Dad and Mom's joint ownership when Dad authorized the transfer last winter. Recall the autumn document he endorsed before the clinic. I finalized it lawfully before he passed. Mumbling. Delayed comprehension. My brother hissed, you deceiver. I pivoted the tablet toward them. Message history. DMV confirmations. Electronic seals. Dad's autograph. Footage verification. Timestamp. No, I countered. You merely presumed I was too inept to achieve anything substantial. My brother staggered until his back met the wall. Mom intervened, but she couldn't because she finally comprehended. She held no legal ground now. And one final detail, I added, pushing a second envelope their way. This one gray. Mom hesitated before grasping it. With unsteady digits, she tore it open. Repossession order. 7 days. She gazed up at me, face fractured. Where will we end up? I sensed nothing. Not fury. Not retribution. Just lucidity. Where did I end up when you dismissed me? When you ridiculed me? When you amped the radio instead of instructing your son to cease slamming me? Silence dense enough to swallow. I'm not ejecting you, I murmured. I'm granting you what you instilled in me. Gulp. What's that? I locked eyes with her. Handle it solo. They lingered in my dining room like toppled pillars. Not dominant, not commanding, just stripped bare. My brother attempted once more, tone fracturing. You can't execute this. You're my brother. There it emerged. The term he invoked solely when desperate. I approached the window, shut the blinds, and patted my palms dry on a cloth. The tiniest noise abruptly seemed colossal. The drip of the faucet, the faint chime of the mantel clock, my mother's ragged inhales. You know the insanity, I whispered. All these years my contributions to this kin went unseen. You only acknowledged when you demanded more. Mum advanced. We nurtured you. We sheltered you. No, I amended. Dad nurtured me. You tuned in music. She recoiled as if struck. My brother gripped the door for balance. Grant us a window. We'll sort it. I regarded her. You possessed decades to sort it. She appeared horrified now because she perceived this wasn't an act. This wasn't a ruse. This wasn't the meek young man they once tormented and demeaned. I snatched my wallet. I'm stepping out briefly. Disturb nothing. Take nothing. Ruin nothing. The constable will visit. He'll clarify your options. My brother gasped. You wouldn't render us destitute. But she already sensed this wasn't vengeance. It was plain equity. Grown-up repercussions for grown-up presumption. I moved to the exit. Mom breathed behind me. The feeblest timbre I'd ever detected from her. Where are you heading? I halted, grip on the latch. To claim my existence, I replied gently. Something you've barred me from in this abode. Then I departed without a glance. Upon my return at twilight, a patrol vehicle idled curbside. Beacons dim, motor humming, subdued command. My brother and Mom perched on the porch like reprimanded youths. My brother's shirt clung with sweat streaks. Mom fixated on weeds in the lawn as if they were an escape hatch. Officer Reyes inclined his head as I neared the walkway. Mr. Kensington, your directives were adhered to. They comprehend the interim decree and entry restrictions. Mom surged upright. This is degrading. You summoned authorities on your kin. I remained unmoved. They violated statutes. I didn't. My brother's glance flitted anxiously. I never anticipated you'd follow through. That's the issue, I responded. You never anticipated I could. Officer Reyes coughed. They're permitted to collect personal attire and prescriptions under oversight. All else remains. Mom huffed. You deem yourself mighty now, but someday you'll require us. I grinned, not harshly, just truthfully. Well, I required you at 7. At 12, at 16, at 21, when I pleaded for support and you scoffed. That door sealed ages ago. My brother wiped his brow. You're enacting this over one dumb remark during a meal prep. No, I retorted. The fist merely clarified it. Officer Reyes propped the entry. They entered subdued. No bellowing now. No superiority, no audacity, just diminishment. 45 minutes on, they exited with one backpack apiece. The legal bare essentials. Mom paused in the drive. You'll rue this, she murmured. I secured the entry from within. No, I murmured back via the pane. I at last ceased rueing myself. The following dawn, daylight flooded the dining room as if unaltered, yet all transformed. For the initial occasion in my domain, no strain lingered, merely tranquility, merely mine. I brewed tea deliberately, anchoring in the hush. Then a rap, not hammering, not ire, a delicate, crisp knock. Through the entry's glass, I spied Mom solo this round. She clutched a cardboard box, The identical cafe I once implored her to detour to as a child, the one she solely visited when he craved a treat. I unlatched halfway. She refrained from entering. She extended the box stiffly. "Your preferred almond croissant," she mumbled, fresh-baked. It demanded all my restraint not to chuckle because the act wasn't affection. It was bargaining. "Jordan needs another shot," she breathed. "Your brother, he's endured much." There it surfaced. Playbook. Shield the favored one. She awaited my yield like prior instances. I didn't. "Do you grasp what I discerned overnight?" I whispered. "The sole occasions you approach me are when you seek from me." She blinked. Perhaps she knew. Perhaps eternally. "You may deposit the cafe box on the rail," I stated. "But this dialogue concludes here." She gulped deeply. That wounded her beyond a slam would. She set the box gingerly as if a tribute. Then she retreated and she breathed scarcely audible. "I don't know how to be your mom. I dipped my head once. Then don't request I be your ATM." I shut the entry. Gentle, conclusive, and through the pain. She lingered. I believed that sealed it. Didn't. By midday my device buzzed incessantly. Not rings, alerts from finance apps, transfer tries, login attempts. 4 rejected transactions. They probed every vector. My brother essayed PayPal initially. Then Zelle. Then he attempted accessing my ancient shared checking from 5 years prior, the one I'd overlooked. He must have retained the credentials somewhere. He didn't realize I'd locked it all the prior eve. Then a message landed in my inbox, routed via the loan site. They filed to tap my vehicle lien. That was the juncture I truly settled, pulse even, not alarmed, just astounded by their boundless presumption. 10 minutes on, Nora, my lawyer, video called. She skipped greetings. One line. Provide their complete legal identities. I recited them steadily. No tremor, no pause. Mom Jordan, Alyssa. Nora keyed as I uttered. "And the responding officer yesterday," she queried, "Officer Reyes." I affirmed. Nora nodded briskly, precise, managed. "Dill. Will append his account." No sentiment in her timbre. Just pristine juridical edge. She eyed me via the display with an odd fusion of admiration and sorrow. "Maya, this will accelerate outcomes they can't reverse." I reclined in my seat. "No." I surveyed my dining room. Gentle glow, pristine surfaces. A zone no longer a war zone, but a haven. And I voiced it aloud, at last absorbing. "I'm not penalizing them. I'm revoking entry." Nora sighed. Blend of ease and endorsement. "Solid," she answered. "Since the documents we're lodging next will render yesterday seem a courteous alert." The session was slated for 10 a.m. I appeared at 9:51, composed, attire neat, gray suit, no drama. My brother, mom, and sister clustered there, murmur quarreling in the corridor like fretful adolescents nabbed forging tests. They stiffened upon sighting me. My brother's mouth twisted. "You're truly inflicting this on your blood." Angled my head. "Not vicious, just perceptive. You inflicted that yourselves." Within, the magistrate perused the dossier. Bulky now, captures, affidavits, fiscal records, dial logs, Officer Reyes's narrative. It appeared so mundane on sheets. No shrieks, no spectacle, just deeds, then fallout. The magistrate addressed my brother. "Unauthorized access bids are grave. You invaded accounts not yours legally. You sought to initiate loans in his name. That's deceit." My brother swallowed so intensely his frame shuddered. Mom interjected. "Or kin. This is mix-up. He's exaggerating." The magistrate elevated a hand. "Ma'am, kin ties hold no sway in fiscal offense." That lone phrase resonated like a decade of counseling condensing in a breath. Post-verdicts, protective limits, and inked forms, we exited to the hall. My sister truly extended to clasp my shoulder, timbre quaking. "Maya, we didn't foresee you'd push this extent." I didn't withdraw. I merely stated, "You ought to have grasped the initial no." And then I proceeded to the egress. The glass portals mirrored daylight, my visage undaunted. Outdoors, Nora lounged by her vehicle, shades clipped to her collar, grasping 2 Ts. "Presuming it's sealed," she inquired. I assented. "It's sealed." We idled in the auto a spell, motor silent. Nora extended and patted the binder on my knees. The endorsed ultimate mandates. "This isn't payback," she murmured tenderly. "This is self-command." For the inaugural in my span, I trusted her utterly. I messaged my son one line. "You will never inherit what harmed me."